Hi there, welcome to this week's episode masterclass. My name is Dr. Julius Oluwasegun Aroba, and I'm the wealth, business, entrepreneurship, mindset surgeon. In this week's episode, I'm going to be talking about the 7 dimensions of wealth. Wealth is not about the amount of money you accumulate over the years into your bank account. Sometimes you might have money, but you might not be wealthy. You might have money in millions, but it does not mean that you are rich, but you only have money. Now, when we are talking about the 7 dimensions of wealth, when you want to be able to build the true prosperity of wealth, you've got to be balanced in these 7 pillars. This first pillar, or the first dimension, is that of financial wealth. People normally say, just like in all our master classes and in our coaching classes, we normally say that if you don't save, you can't be saved in the days of adversity. Now, with financial wealth, just like what they normally say in school or in the fourth wall of school, that if you want to become an accountant, study accountancy. If you want to become a lawyer, study law. If you want to become financially free, what are you meant to study? Which is wealth, creation, and finance. Finance in school does not mean the finance in the streets, in the Wall Street. Finance has got some mysteries that you've got to discover. It's all about numbers. It's all about how you are able to discipline and habits, and how you are able to bridge some of those habits and putting them into practices and into the businesses that you do from day to day. Some, as I always say, Warren Buffett normally said that do not save what is left after spending, but what is left after saving. Now, what Warren Buffett is actually mentioning is talking about passive income technically. Income generation through active and passive income means you diversify your portfolios. Having the knowledge behind the financial wealth is very, very important. Now, in financial wealth, there's different diversities or different pillars that one can actually look out for, which is you diversifying your money in different areas, investing into assets, stocks, real estate, businesses, startups, or cryptos, and so on and so forth. But here, for financial wealth, you've got to have what I call budgeting. You've got to know how to save. You've got to know how to make, manage, and multiply the money you have. A lot of people keep money in the bank. At the end of the day, the money is not actually tied into a fixed deposit or an investment. It's different from you putting it in a saving account. And the bank will be shaving it because they come for taxes, they come for their usual usuries that they normally charge on the account on a monthly basis, irrespective of the kind of account you have. So, what I'm going to be telling you today as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as someone who is determined that wants to be able to build wealth, you've got to have what I call financial education, financial wealth. Again, in some of our masterclasses that we've taught and talked about, or that we've been through, I'll advise you to check some of our recordings or videos or some of our lessons. Or I will also invite you to take the book that we actually came up with, which was titled The Generational Wealth, Rewiring Your Mind for Generational Wealth. It's written by Dr. Julius Oluwasegun Aroba and Dr. Eladi Aruna and Dr. John Mukuro. I advise you to go to www.juliusaroba.com and check the bookstore sections, and you can order for that book. Or you go to Amazon and you type the title of the book, Generational Wealth, or Wealth Code. You can actually find some of those books in there from various stores. So this takes us to the second pillar. The second pillar is that of intellectual wealth. A lot of people, when we're talking about intellectual wealth, the idea you have, the businesses that you have, the things that you actually keep from time to time, the intellectual property that you've actually been able to create over time, Have you been able to patent it? Have you been able to keep it under a protection where you can actually say, this is my own? Because knowledge is capital investment and it's continuous learning that can help you. Your intellectual wealth is that of your wisdom, is that of your mindset, is that of your knowledge and things that you've actually been able to acquire over years. I always tell people, I tell my mentees, that it only takes, there was a man, one of the wise men, he says, it only takes 90 days to be able to create wealth. And that 90 days, it all depends on, all you want to do is to give him a laptop, a home, and a car, and where he's going to be sleeping, and he's going to be able to create $1 million in terms of investments. And there was a book on that investment, which if you are part of our masterclasses or part of the Zillionaires community, I can share the book with you for free without even charging you for anything. But I'm going to tell you that your knowledge gap is very, very important. If you're able to talk about, to improve on your knowledge, you can actually have a very good continuous learning on this. And you've got to develop the right skills in terms of intellectual wealth. Because if you don't have the right skills that the imaging, the market require for you to be able to make, these days, gone are the days when people are studying what kind of course, sociology, or they're studying commerce, or they're studying marketing, or they're studying some courses that are very weird. But at the end of the day, in the imaging market, in the Gen Z, Gen X, and Gen Alpha or Gen Beta that we are in now, you've got to look for courses that has to do with artificial intelligence. And by the way, it is a privilege that God has actually made me to be part of the top 10 African artificial intelligence youngest professor. I was actually rated, and it's one of my major skills as well that I do as an artificial intelligence expert in Africa and also across the globe. If you want to know that, I advise you to go to www.juliusaroba.com, or perhaps you can actually Google my name now. Check out some of the research that we've done in those skills. Those are part of imaging markets and imaging skills that you've got to learn. Now, if you're operating in a business and you've not actually added an AI into your business, it means that that business is not going to be forever. And if you have a business, you're now operating on the internet, you don't have a website for that internet, it means that is a local business. I want to advise you, if you want to build a business that is going to be a long-lasting business for generational wealth, to have the second pillar that I call the intellectual property, you've got to put your business out there in the radar, in the global space, so that anybody, anywhere can actually be able to check your business out, or to check your personality or the startup or your investment or product that you have along. So, leveraging creativity and innovation for solving problems is one of the major things that you've got to start thinking of. And there was a quote, according to Benjamin Franklin. He said, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Now, everything can be taken away from you, but one thing can never be taken away from you: what you know and who you know. The question here is, do you know what your intellectual wealth is? Your intellectual wealth is second pillar. The third pillar that I'm going to be discussing with you today is that of social wealth. Is the third dimension. Now, I always tell, just like we normally say in every area of life, they say your net worth is your network. Your network, that you are the average of the 5 people you speak to. If those 5 people you're speaking to are those that are poor, it means that you are also going to be languishing in the same poverty line that those folks are in. But if you are in the midst of those that are wealthy and super rich, maybe you have 5 friends that are rich and wealthy, it means that you're going to be amongst the 5th persons. You are the 5th persons that is actually wealthy in that team. This third one is social wealth. Your network is your net worth. You need to build and maintain a meaningful relationship in anything that you do, because if you don't have a meaningful relationship, there is no how you can be able to scale through in building a 7-dimension wealth. Now, your network creates opportunity for you, and also they open doors for you. And there are different kind of doors. Doors, if you look at it holistically, doors can be a passage, doors can be a hallway, doors can be an opening or an introduction to people, doors can be a stairways, doors can be in form of a flight, doors can actually be in form of a ship. Now, what I'm talking about in different dimension here is that your introduction to your network can go far. Now, imagine somebody who is able to fly, and you're being introduced to someone within the network of the space in that same space. It shows that you are able to fly, and that is a door. Now, in another dimension as well, a door can actually be a stairways. Maybe your network, your net worth, they introduce somebody that is high ranking or somebody that is actually privileged to have a very good information within that same thing that you are looking for help for. So this question here is, what is your social capital, social wealth looking like? Remember, networking creates opportunity by opening doors to meaningful relationship, fresh ideas, collaborations, and access to valuable resources across the globe that can speed or accelerate your growth and success. I take a pause from that place, but I know that you're actually following me in this masterclass. The other thing here is, when we're talking about acceleration for growth, if you don't grow up, if you jump up, you will surely fall down. But if you grow up, you stay up. That is the synopsis of life. If you want to be able to maintain a social capital wealth, you've got to be intentional of who you talk to, who you speak to, where you live, what you eat, what you do, and who are your friends, and where do you hang out, who do you hang out with. Your environment determine what you are going to become in life. I don't know where you're watching this from. I don't know where you are actually connecting to this masterclass today. But I know that one thing that is sure and certain is that you can actually be born into a poor home. And there might not be business in that poor home, but you can create a business in that environment. Everywhere you see, those people you see, they are business. Those are your social capital, social wealth that you can build. But I'm going to tell you that collaboration often leads to greater returns in the future than competitors. Now, a lot of people, poor people, they like to compete, but the rich collaborate. Because when you collaborate, sometimes you might not have the product. Let me take an adage, or maybe a story from the Igbo lineage in one country in West Africa called Nigeria. When these guys from Igbo ethnicity, when they're actually growing up, their mother or their father, they normally send them on that apprenticeship for about 4 or 5 years. And by the time that child or those children actually goes through that school of learning, that trade or that business, after 5 years, the guy who they set under will actually set them up. And before you know it, they also have their own offices or shops or businesses, and they start from there. Now, what does that tell you? It tells you that your collaboration is very, very important. Your network is very, very important. That uncle of his or hers that has established has been able to see what value they can. Remember, your net worth is your network. And this is according to Porter Gale. The fourth dimension that I'm going to be talking about today is that of the time worth. Little do you know, a lot of people or poor folks out there will tell you, you know what? I like to spend my time, I don't like to run, I don't like to do this and all that. I like my 8 hours to sleep over time. My Bible tells me that there's time for everything. There's time to sleep, there's time, the Holy Book says there's time to sleep, there's time to read, there's time to eat, there's time to dance, and there's time to mourn. In the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1, it says for everything is appointed time. Now, time is very important. And it says there is a season. There is a winter season, there is a dry season, there is a wet season. Now, about time is very important. Imagine you sleep about 8 hours every day of your life. When you sleep 8 hours of your life on a daily basis, when you are 30 years old, it means that you've slept 10 years of your life, because 8 hours of 24 hours is 1/3 of 24 hours. It means that you've used 10 years to sleep. Whereas that 10 years, some other people are actually using those years to be able to build business. This is why some people still remain poor. Oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, and all those things. True wealth means owning your time. When you are able to set up your business, your time wealth is very important. You leverage on systems. Because when you are operating a business, you have a system in place where people can actually go over to order or to be able to use that system, and they pay for that service. It shows that it delegates you of your free time instead of you getting involved physically. And that is time wealth. Balance also with rest and rejuvenation is one of very, very important things. Time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you can never get more time, because time never waits. According to Jim Rohn, time never waits. He said time is more valuable than money. And you can get more money, but you can never get more time. In this area, What are you using your time for? Your time is your wealth. Your time is important. The fifth dimension I'm going to be talking about is that of your physical wealth. Physical wealth is very important. Your health is the foundation for enjoying anything you have in life. Invest in your body. Invest in your mental health. Invest in your psychological wealth. Invest in everything that can give you holistic health. 360, because all the money you're trying to make from time to time, if you're no longer there, somebody else will take that. Even the bank will never give it to your next of kin, because they will tell you, or they will tell them to say they never knew that they were. Before you know it, a lot of money has been overtaken by the bank, and the bank becomes the richest place after the burial ground today. Exercise and nutrition is very important, and the rest are non-negotiable. Rest, it is non-negotiable. It is health that is real wealth, and not pieces of gold and silver. According to Gandhi, he said, the real wealth is your health, and not the piece of silver and gold that you gather over time. As a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as someone who is on a journey to be able to create wealth, I want to ask you this question. Have you been able to set out time to go for a walk, time to be at the gym, time to be able to take some rest? And do you also watch what you eat? The sixth pillar of the seventh dimension of wealth is emotional wealth. Emotions determine how you are able to persuade people. Mental resilience and emotional intelligence matters in anything you do as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as somebody who's on a journey to become wealthy. You've got to take this as very, very important. You can't trade your happiness for something else. You've got to know how to break free from the golden cage. That you are not going to be caged in your mind. You are going to be free to be able to take over the space by having a balanced emotional wealth. Peace of mind is priceless for form of wealth. And also, cultivating gratitude and mindfulness and joy is also very important. According to the Lambda, he said happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own action. Emotional wealth is very important. The last one is that of your spiritual wealth. Most people told me, some mentees in the past told me that, sorry, I don't believe in anything. I said, I understand, but you must be connected to something else. As a sense of purpose and inner alignment that fuels what is inside you. If you are on a mission to create wealth, you've got to think about having a spirituality nature, connecting to the God above. If you don't believe that there is God, you've got to know that you've got to give back in one way. Maybe in terms of philanthropy, or maybe in terms of fulfillment, maybe in terms of giving people something positive within your environment. You've got to serve others. Live with intention. Your spiritual grounding is very important, and that offers you clarity in decision making. So friends and fellow zillionaires, today in this masterclass, and entrepreneurs that are out there that are watching or listening or going through this, wealth is the ability to fulfill, experience life, according to David Henry Thoreau. On this note, I believe we've actually been able to touch most everything. Wealth is multidimensional. Financial success is just one piece of puzzles. True wealth is when all 7 dimensions of this wealth cardinality that I've mentioned, be it physical, financial, spiritual, emotional, and so on and so forth, comes into one part. That is when you have a true wealth. On the last note, I'm going to be concluding that success is not just about what you are accomplishing in life. It is about what you inspire, who you inspire, and what you inspire others to do. So on this note, friends and families and zillionaires, until I come your way again, my name is Dr. Julius Oluwasegun Aroba, your wealth, financial entrepreneur, mindset surgeon. I'll see you again in our next class. God bless you.